Hello, I am Representative Ronald Breeze, and I have the pleasure and privilege of serving many in Tallahassee for District 108, which is comprised of the city of North Miami, El Portal, Biscayne Park, Miami Shores, the northern part of the city of Miami, parts of unincorporated Dade, and a small segment of the city of North Miami Beach. I am humbled by the thought that I have the pleasure and privilege to be your voice in Tallahassee. So therefore, part of my responsibility is to let you know what actually happened during our session. And today we are attempting to inform you as to what the 160 legislators who spend 60 days in Tallahassee have done during the last session. This year was particularly difficult due to the budget challenges that we had. We began the budget session with a $6 billion shortfall. With that shortfall, we would have ended up with a budget that is roughly around $61.5 billion. At the end, we ended up with a budget amounting to $66.5 billion with some help from our Democratic president, President Obama, and the Congress. Injected into our budget for the next couple of years was $5.3 billion, which allowed us to fulfill our obligation to many of the services that we have to provide and ensure that the citizens receive in the state of Florida. How did we arrive at completing the budget? We swept many of the trust funds, and that is concerning to me because those are dedicated dollars for particular purposes. People who are professionals and who work for certain areas such as healthcare, people who work in the area of accounting, law, and all of those areas provide dollars so that their area of work could be regulated. But we swept many of those trust funds to balance the budget. So that to me is concerning. This session, by the mere fact that we focused so much on the budget, we passed a very low number of bills. Some may say that that is a good thing, because some say that the less that happens in Tallahassee, the better for the rest of us in the state. But that means that there's a lot of good policy that was left on the table due to the fact that 90% of our discussion centered around the budget. What else occurred relative to the dollars? Many of you have been paying attention to what was going to happen with the Seminole Gaming Compact. As you are aware, that the governor last year entered into a compact and that was found to be unconstitutional because it was said that he was overstepping. So this year, the legislature provided the guidelines for a compact which would provide funds to go into the education enhancement fund similar to the lottery funds. And in addition to that, we seek to raise via that vehicle $300 to $600 million for the state on a yearly basis. Tobacco surcharge tax or fee is one that is also going to be imposed. We're raising the fee on tobacco by $1 per pack of cigarette. And that is supposed to bring in roughly $1 billion. And these dollars, we would have hoped that these dollars would have been primarily going towards health care. But due to the unfortunate situation with our state's economy, that wasn't done. So that too is concerning to me. But I am glad to see that at the very least we were able to pass the tobacco surcharge, because in the end it will do a couple of good things. One, additional revenue for our state, but most importantly, it hopefully will deter certain people from smoking, and thus, in the end, keeping an added burden from our state coffers by the fact that when these individuals are saddled with illness, and many of them without insurance, we, the state, have to bear that cost. I am particularly concerned with the fact that we weren't completely honest in the legislature as to the difference between taxes and fees. I serve on the Transportation and Economic Development Committee, and on that committee, we raised $800 million in terms of fees. I voted against this bill because I think it unduly adds a burden on everyday working Floridians. Just the mere fact that you decide to operate a motor vehicle here in the state of Florida causes you to pay additional fees. Every time you go to renew your license, to get a new ID card, every time you go to renew the registration on your vehicle, which happens every year, you have to pay additional fees. Why is this particularly bothersome to me? Because a fee is imposed to cover the costs that are incurred while providing a particular service. A tax is imposed on everyone because those dollars will go into general revenue. We have taken fees from transportation and put them into general revenue. So therefore, the individual who's paying for those services by paying the fee is not reaping the benefits. Those dollars are not going towards fixing our roads, bringing commuter rail to Florida, and all those types of things. So I am particularly disappointed with that. KidCare is a program within the state of Florida that we use to make sure that most children in Florida have access to health care. That's one of the good highlights within the last session. We've made the process a lot easier. Before, the joke is that it took a PhD to fill out the application for KidCare. Now you only need an associate's in order to fill out the application. We expanded the services, but there are areas of concern. Government workers are still not covered by KidCare. Children of immigrants are still not covered by KidCare. And those are areas that I think we need to continue to work on.